Hi guys, greetings of the day. Myself, Vijetha Vardhan, and please welcome back to my YouTube channel. And in this session, we are going to have a discussion on projection of solids. And an example problem is like this: a hexagonal prism 25 mm sides of base and 50 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its corners of the base, such that the two base edges containing the corner on which it rests make equal inclinations for HP. Draw the projections of the prism when the axis of the prism is inclined to HP at 40 degree and appears to be inclined to VP at 45 degree. So according to the given condition, let me show you the actual position of the solid first. Then I will show you how to do it in the booklet, that is in the grid book, manual drawing. Now, you guys can see that this is called as a hexagonal prism since the shape of the base is hexagon and this is a solid called as prism. Hence, we call it as a hexagonal prism. Now, hexagonal prism is going to be positioned like this. It is resting on one of its corners. Okay. When it is going to be rotated in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, whatever it may be, when it is rotated in the clockwise direction, it is supposed to be resting on a corner. Now, for corner resting, you can see in the front view a rectangle. The three faces are going to be visible. Now, after its rotation, with respect to HPA for a given angle of 40 degree, and then the axis is again inclined at 45 degree to VP. Now you can see it is going to be rested on a corner like this. Okay. Now the bottom base is visible to you in the third stage front view, and the top base is invisible. In the second position, from the top base is visible, the bottom base is going to be the invisible. Now how to do it? In your booklet, I am going to show you the solution. Initially, it will be kept like this and clockwise rotation, and then again clockwise rotation. Now you can see this is how the object is going to look like in the top and front views. Now let me show you how to do it in your booklets, that is a manual drawing. Now to construct the manual drawing, we know that the sides of the hexagon is given as 25 millimeter. Now using your compass, I repeat, using your compass, set the radius value equal to 25 millimeter and then locate a point anywhere below the XY line properly, and then one can draw a circle like this. Now, after drawing this circle using your 2H pencils, then what you are supposed to do is using your scale and a pencil to draw a corner resting hexagonal prism. Now, with respect to one of the circumference point to the another circumference point, that is nothing but you are supposed to draw a horizontal diagonal, which is as shown. Now, after drawing a horizontal triangle to complete this circle into a hexagon, you are supposed to follow the procedure. Now, I am going to show it to you. Now, without changing the radius of the compass, keep the compass at the left hand side, and then without changing the radius, I told you, without changing the radius, you are supposed to draw an arc like this. Again, without changing the radius and the center, draw an arc on the other side of the circumference like this, that is at the top and bottom. And now you move the compass center towards the right side of the diameter end point. Again, without changing any radius value, draw an arc on either side like this, which is as shown. Now, once you got these 6 points, that is nothing but 2 points forms the diameter and another 4 points from the arc, then using your HB pencils, make sure that you are going to draw the hexagon like this by connecting the respective lines. That is the end points. Now, once the hexagon is formed, the size of the hexagon will be equal to the 25 millimeter, and then using a scale and a pencil, draw one more diagonal of the hexagon to locate the position of the axis. And then using the pencils, complete the annotation parts like the naming the corners as well as the axis position, and then complete the projector lines. The projector lines are nothing but the line should be projected till the XY line like this. Now I'm going to complete the naming part, then I'm going to show you the completed one, and then the annotation part is going to be completed. Now I have already completed all the projectors as well as the annotation parts is concerned. Now since we know that the height of the solid is taken as 50 millimeter, now wherever you are having the position of the corners, that is nothing but position of the longer edges, all the longer edges must be drawn for 5 boxes, which I am going to showing you right now. Okay, after drawing that, then complete the bottom base as well as the top base, and then at last the axis must be shown in the form of a chain line like this. Okay, this is how you are supposed to complete the front view, and then I'm going to complete the annotation part of the same figure, and then I'm going to show you to save your time in the video over here. Yes, now you can see guys, I have completed the annotation part as well as the dimensioning part. After which the axis is inclined to HP at 40 degree. Now when it is going to be rotated, it is going to be resting on the corner either A1 dash or D1 dash, which I am going to show you now. Now, when we are going to rotate in the clockwise direction, the corner D1 dash is going to be fixed on the XY line. Okay, now we have to relocate the corner D1 dash on the XY line, and to get the next stage, we have to rotate the base about an inclination of 90 minus theta. The theta angle is 40 degree, that is HP inclination is given. So 90 minus theta is equal to 50 degree. When we are going to rotate the base about 50 degree inclination, then we are going to get the axis is rotated about 40 degree. Now let me show you how to do the same. Now you guys can see that I have relocated the corner D1 dash keeping some convenient distance from the first stage, and then keep the protractor at D1 dash and measure 50 degree in this direction, that is in the anti-clockwise direction, and then you are supposed to draw a constructional line like this. And once you got this constructional line, now take your compass. Using the compass, measure the distance from D1 dash to A1 dash. Using the compass, I repeat, measure D1 dash to A1 dash, and then with D1 dash as a center, then without changing the radius, you are supposed to draw an arc over here. And once you got that arc over there, we are going to get the position of A1 dash. Now to get the position of A dash and D dash, now again using the compass, measure the distance from D dash to D1 dash, and similarly A1 dash to A dash remains same. Now with D dash as a center, without changing the radius, we are supposed to draw an arc like this, and also with A1 dash as a reference, without changing the radius, we are supposed to draw one more arc like this. Now to get the exact position of A and D dash, again using the compass, with D1 dash as a center, measure the E1 dash, measure the A1 dash. Once the A1 dash is measured, with D1 dash as a center, without changing the radius, one has to draw an arc like this. And repeat the same procedure from A1 dash and complete the one more arc over here, so that we are going to get the one more position. Now this will be marked as A dash and this will be marked as D dash. Then the remaining portions are also going to be marked. Then I am going to complete it to show you to save you the time over here in the video. And this is the procedure to complete the drawing. And afterwards, using your scale and pencil, now what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to keep a scale parallel to the line O1 and extend it till the XY line, and then using your pencil, show that the axis is inclined about 40 degree. Now I already completed the annotation part, which I have already told you. And now to get the top view, then what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to draw the projectors from the respective stage front view as well as top view. Now let me draw a projector from corner D like this. Now one of the horizontal vertical projector I have drawn. And with respect to the previous stage, I'm going to draw one of the horizontal projector. The intersection point, we are going to mark it as the corner D. Now, in the same fashion, we are supposed to draw all the projectors and complete the marking of each and every corners. That is totally 14 corners are to be marked. Now, I'm going to complete it and show it to you guys to save the time in the video over here. Yes, guys, as I had told you, I have completed all the annotation parts as well as completing all the projectors, which is as shown. And now I'm going to complete the top view now by applying the rules of visibility. Now, the first rule says that the boundary lines are always visible. Now, take your HB pencil and a scale, and then starting with A1, connect it to B1, then followed by C1, B, and C is going to be the boundary. And then connect it to D, then connect it to E, F, E1, F1, and then connect F1, and then back to A1. Now, when you're going to complete the boundary, it is going to be the outermost lines of the solid. That is what we call it as a boundary. And afterwards, the second point says that identify the visible base and make those base edges as visible edges. When the observer is seeing the object from the top base is nearer to the observer, hence the top base edges must be visible. Now, using a scale and a pencil, that is using HB pencils, make sure that the top base edges representation has to be completed as a visible dark line like this. Now, with B to A, let me connect it properly. Now, the visible base has been identified and made those base edges as visible edges properly. And afterwards, again, identify the invisible base. When the top base is visible, obviously the bottom base is invisible. And the bottom base edges which are not in the boundary must be shown as invisible edges, because the boundary edges are always visible. Okay. Now, with the base edges E1 to D1, and D1 to C1 is going to be the invisible edges. And then the last point, such of the longer edges, either partially or completely, passing through the visible base are invisible and vice versa. So according to this, if I'm going to connect the longer edge DD1, it is partially passing inside the visible base, hence it must be invisible. In the same fashion, now the longer edge AA1 is passing inside the invisible base, hence it must be visible. Like this, one has to complete the drawing like this. Now this completes the second stage, top view. And now afterwards, the axis is inclined to VP at 45 degree. Now, what is the meaning of this? We are going to discuss. Now, you guys can see that, as I told you, that appears to be inclined to VP at 45 degree is nothing but the apparent angle is given directly, even though there is a reduction in length of the axis. Okay. Now, the apparent angle is given directly, so one need not to construct it. Now, with respect to the given apparent angle, we have to start solving the problem. Now, to do the same, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to keep some convenient distance from the XY line. Then I'm going to draw a line which is parallel to XY line like this. And keeping a protractor here, measure 40 degree in this direction. Measure 40 degree in this direction. Now, sorry, it was not 40 degree. It is supposed to be a 45 degree to the VP. Now, keep a point anywhere on the line over here. Now, after keeping a point, now you are supposed to measure the respective line. That is, the 45 degree line has to be drawn like this. Now, this inclination is supposed to be 45 degree. Now, after drawing a 45 degree, now what we are supposed to do is take a pencil and locate a point anywhere on this 45 degree line what we have drawn here. Okay. Once we are going to draw a point over there, and after which what we are supposed to do is using the compass, measure the distance between O1 to O. Using the compass, measure the distance between O1 to O. Now, when O1 as the center, without changing the radius, draw a constructional arc over here and then locate a point if it is necessary over there, and then using your pencil, and you can name this corner as O1 and this corner as O. Now, the apparent angle 45 degree has been constructed with respect to the axis. Now we are supposed to get the remaining points. What are the remaining points? A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now let me show you how to draw that. Using the arc technique, that is, measure the distance from O1 to F1. Measure the distance from O1 to F1. Now with O1 as the center, and draw a radius which is equal to O1F as a radius. And then again measure the position of F from the axis position O here. Now this measurement has to be obtained. Now with O as the center, without changing that radius what we have measured, now one has to draw an arc over here like this. Now upon drawing this arc, the intersection point what we are going to get will be called as F1. Now in the same fashion, all other remaining 11 corners has to be drawn here. Now to save the time, instead of drawing each and every arc, I'm going to complete it and show you to you guys. Using the same technique, you are supposed to complete the entire image and regenerate at an angle of 45 degree, which is going to be shown after a while. Yes, now you can see that I have transferred the complete image, how it is looking in the top view at an angle of 45 degree to the VP. That is, the axis is inclined at an angle of 45 degree. That's an apparent angle. Now you can see that why we have taken this as a reference line below the XY line. Now if you have drawn this line starting from the XY line, now you can see the portion of a solid. I'll just repeat. The portion of a solid, you can see the corner E is going to cross the XY line if we have not constructed a line over here. So to avoid that one, we have to construct a line like this, just to make sure that the figure fits in the page properly. Nothing else, the reason to draw a line which is parallel below the XY line. And now, afterwards, we need to draw the front view. How we have obtained the top view? In the same fashion, we have to draw the front view, for which one has to draw the projectors. Now, let me take the projector like this. That is, the corner C I am going to select it, and I am going to draw a vertical projector for corner C like this, and a horizontal projector for the corner D. Also, I am going to extend it towards horizontally, and then that point has to be marked using your HB pencil, and it is going to be named as the corner C dash. Sorry, but here this is the projector of D we have generated, not the C. So this kind of mistakes, you may do it on a regular basis, but please make sure that when you project C, connect the C to C only. So now I'm going to connect the projector of C dash over there. Now this is going to be called as C dash. Now once it is done, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video right now and then going to complete the remaining projectors and show it to you guys to save the time in the video. Repeat the same procedure and complete all the annotation part is concerned. Okay guys, now as I told you, I have completed all the required projectors and also followed by the annotation parts. Okay, now we have to complete the front view by applying the rules of visibility. So what the first rule says that the boundary lines are always visible. Now since the more number of points and lines are there, it may lead to a confusion. So I'm going to just enlarge this shape, but in your booklets you don't have an option to enlarge while you are doing the manual drawing. Okay, now using a scale and a pencil, please make sure that let me start with A dash. Now with A dash as a reference, now I'm going to connect it to B dash, then followed by C dash, and then whether the B dash is going to be the boundary or C1 dash is going to be the boundary, we have to make a trial and error method. Now you can see C dash could be the boundary, not the D dash, because D dash gets inside the point over there. Okay. And then you can further extend to D1 dash. Now you can see C1 dash is going outside the line, henceforth C1 dash has to be the boundary. And then D1 dash, then followed by E1 dash, then followed by F1 dash. Now whether it is E1 dash is a boundary or F dash is a boundary, yes, F dash is a boundary. And then connect it back to A dash. In this way, the boundary has to be completed. Now the number of points gets increased. Only thing is, with a lot of patience, one has to do the things properly. Okay. Now afterwards, the second point says that identify the visible base and make those base edges as visible. Now when the observer is seeing the object from the front, this bottom base is nearer to the observer and the top base is away from the observer. And in the blind method, the base which is nearer to XY line is always invisible. The base which is far away from the XY line is always visible. Now, in that context, now you can see that the base edges A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1 is visible. That is, F1 dash to A1 dash is supposed to be made as visible. Now, let me zoom this area. Okay. Now, with A1 dash and then followed by B1 dash, then followed to C1 dash, it is going to be the visible base. When this base is visible, obviously the other remaining base must be an invisible base. Now, the third point says that identify the invisible base. Now, this is the invisible base and make those edges as invisible base. Now, you can see the F dash, E dash, D dash to C dash has been shown as invisible edges. Now, the fourth point, such of the longer edges, either partially or completely, passing inside the visible base becomes invisible and vice versa. Now, that means the A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1 is a visible base. Now, if I'm going to connect A1, it is going to form the boundary. Sorry, F1, it is going to form the boundary, and C1 has already formed the boundary. Only remaining four edges we are going to discuss, like F1. Now, F1 is already passing outside and it is a boundary, and A1, okay. Let us go with EE1. Now, EE1, if I am going to connect it, it is passing inside the visible base partially. This length is getting passed inside the visible base, hence it must be invisible. Next, I am going to connect DD1. It is also partially passing through the visible base, hence this line must be invisible. Then we will connect the remaining edges. Which are the remaining edges? Now, let us connect the BB1. Now, BB1 is passing inside the invisible base, henceforth, this must be a visible edge. Now, in the same fashion, FF1 is also passing, sorry, not FF1, AA1 is passing inside the visible base, hence, inside the invisible base, hence it must be a visible edge. And at last, but not the least, the axis has to be represented. But here, the axis, even though we are going to show it, it is not going to reflect it properly. But however, you are supposed to complete the axis. Now, one can say that the problem is completed in all aspects. Now, if you are having any sort of doubts, you can please feel free to communicate to me in the number provided over there. And also, I kindly request you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also you can share this video to all your first year engineering students. And thank you for watching my video. Thank you once again. Thank you guys.